Very much, Mr. Chairman. And I really do appreciate your calling this hearing. It's very important. However, I must spend a few minutes dealing with Mr. Scalise and his attack on the administration. Mr. Police, Mrs. Police talked about what was happening with COVID-19. And I'm looking at this article in his local newspaper that says, after months of waiting and as cases spiked, GOP lawmaker gets first COVID shot, the vaccine works. And it was on Sunday that Mr. Scalise received his first Pfizer vaccination at a clinic in Jefferson Parish. I don't think he's even received his second Pfizer yet, vaccination. And so this business about him now becoming, concerned and having gotten religion about vaccinations is very interesting. I appreciate that he's come around.
Would the gentlelady yield?
No, not now, not right now. I appreciate that he has come around because while cases of the virus and hospitalizations are on the rise, vaccinations have become a dividing line in the U.S., with many conservative-leaning Americans choosing not to get vaccinated, despite the scientific consensus that the COVID vaccine is extremely safe and extremely effective. Again, this is coming from an article that was written about Mr. Scalise and his hesitancy with getting vaccinated. And when asked time and time again, he would just say soon. Some political scientists have attributed the polarization to former President Donald Trump's public downplaying of the virus, even as he was sickened and hospitalized with COVID-19 and has since gotten the vaccine himself. And so I just wanted to insert, that information into the record because of the attack that Mr. Scalise made on this administration. And now let me get to rental assistance. This is very important to me because it was the #1 priority for me in dealing with the American Relief Plan, that we were able to get increase the total amount of rental assistance to about $47 billion. And this is so very important. And I want you to know that I'm pleased that Ms. Yentl is here today. Because of her, President and CEO of the National Low-Income Housing Coalition, that we've been able to get all of this money. She not only organized and worked with the other housing advocacy groups, she was responsible for the kind of insistence on making sure that we had adequate amounts to deal with rental assistance. And she worked with the Biden administration. The Biden administration adopted many of NLIHCA's recommendations, including extending the eviction moratorium and releasing an updated FAQ 50 and fact sheet 51 on June 24th to accelerate and broaden the distribution of ERA. The White House encouraged state courts to adopt anti-eviction diversion practices, activated a whole of government effort to raise awareness of ERA, and Treasury issued new guidance to accelerate and broaden state and local distribution of funds. Treasury revised the FAQ, strongly encourages grantees to partner with courts to actively prevent evictions and develop eviction diversion programs, increases access to ERA for people experiencing homelessness by establishing a commitment letter process, directs grantees to remove cultural and linguistic barriers to accessing aid, encourages grantee coordination to reduce burdens and delays, and streamlines payments for utility providers and large landlords. I, too, worry about these evictions. The moratorium is going to be over at the end of this month. And I think it is absolutely necessary for us to pay attention, to do everything that we can to make sure that we just simply aren't having evictions that are going to put people out on the street and increase homelessness. That's why I'm so appreciative for this hearing today, Mr. Chairman. And so with that, I want you to know that I was always worried about distribution. This is huge. This is not easy to do. And now we have put the money in the hands of state governments. And I want the governors and the elected officials in the states to come up with programs that will do what we intended to do. Some have been more successful than others, like we're hearing about in Harris County. Others are slower. And so we've got to get them all up to speed, because this is absolutely necessary to deal with protection for our families. And I'm also concerned about small landlords, not the big boys, they can take care of themselves, but the small landlords who depend on this for their mortgage payments, who depend on rental assistance for their retirement income. I'm concerned about them too. So I wish that we could challenge the courts. I know what the court decisions have been, and I know what they're saying to us, but we need to go ahead and go back to the courts and ask them to please allow this administration to extend the moratorium on evictions. So I want you to know, Mr. Chairman, that it just happened that I met with Secretary Yellen this morning, and she and her staff are working very hard to do everything that they can to assist the governors and the states in getting this money out. I thank you, and I yield back the balance of my time.